Hi, my name is Wilx, and this is episode 28 of Project Ozone 2 Reloaded here in Titan mode. Today we're going to troubleshoot an AE crafting problem, where you see simulation and it grays out the ability to craft, and we'll have a fix for that. We're also going to get into some RFtools remote storage. We're going to talk some about neutron collectors, and a whole bunch of little odds and ends of improvements around the base. And I got a few questions for you people at the end of this. Maybe you can help me out on future episodes. Okay, so let's get started with AE crafting. Now, what I was trying to do is I had originally planned on doing HDPE pellets, the mechanism things. You need those to make fuel rods for big reactors and a few other things as well. And it's fairly complicated if you've never done it before to figure out how to set that up. So I was going to do that all on screen for you. One of the things I wanted to do in my system was have some form of storage for gases. Now, when I went to look at gas, I didn't see a lot of different options, like, well, practically none. The basic tank for mechanism, I'm clicking on it, there's no recipe for it. The only option I saw at all was AE for storing gases. So I figured, okay, that sounds good. I guess I'll use the AE system for storing gases. And so even if you want to make something bigger, you got to start with a 1K ME gas storage component. Actually, let's do that in here. The 1K ME gas storage. So when I click on that, it goes sulfur, Certus, processors. I got lots of all of those. So let's craft that. Put it over here. We'll put it in the column with all the other processors. So if it does a bunch of them at once, they're all going through different interfaces. And we'll come here, we'll click on it, and we'll try to craft one. Doesn't work. Starts grayed out. It says simulation down here. I go, what do you mean simulation? I want to craft the thing. I don't want a simulation. It says that I have the Certus, I have the processor, I have the sulfur. Well, why the hell won't it craft it? So I go to start, it said CPU. It didn't seem to be seeing the CPUs. I look at the CPU, nothing in it, not doing anything wrong. Well, are the modules over here? Like, did I run out of channels or something? But no, there's plenty of channels. That's not the problem. Well, one common thing that can cause situations like that to happen is if we check over here, I have 3 different areas for sulfur and then one more for sulfur over here. And sometimes AE systems can get confused when you do that. Whoops, the one for over here is there. Now, so I tried putting them all in one place and tried it again, and it didn't work. So that wasn't the problem. So I come back here and go, okay, well, what could possibly be wrong? Let's take a look at each of these. So we look at processors. Well, I have 9,000 of them. No problem. Certus, 34,000. No problem. Sulfur, 83,000. No problem. So I come into here and I go, okay, well, let's try crafting it the normal way. No problem. It can make it. Let's try auto crafting it again. Still won't do it. How can it make it that way and not auto craft it? Well, let's go back to when I said sulfur. Can you see the problem? It took me a little while to see it, but can you see the problem? Let's take out one of these. Take out one of these. They look different. This is thermal foundation. This is mechanism. It seems that the crafting terminal could unify it for me, but the auto crafting couldn't do the unification. Now, we do have options. I could have switched over to like yellow or the from the flowers or the yellow petals and done it that way. But I have 83,000 sulfur. I want to get rid of some of this stuff. I would really much rather use that. So if this can't unify them, let's unify it some other way. Well, storage drawers are pretty damn good at unifying things. So let's try that. We're going to take one of the good one. We'll put it in that drawer there. Now up here, I have a drawer controller slave. Whoops. Okay. And it's with the one that's keeping the stone and the wood for my Botania area. I'm also feeding in the dirt from these things. I've got too many saplings and I want to get rid of some of them. Even though dirt would be very easy to make in a condenser. I just want to get rid of the saplings. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this, put it on there. That's the one that's containing the sulfur there. And we're going to put a filter in here. And I'm going to put one of this is the mechanism sulfur, the one that I don't want. And we'll put it on extract. And then in here, we'll put it on insert. Oh, there's one other thing. This is going to be slow as hell. So we're going to put as many speed upgrades in as we can. And as you can see, it's already done 65 of them, and it's going to do another 65 in a second. But it's going to take a little while to do it. It would be faster if I was pulling straight from the drawer itself into another drawer. But I want to grab it from all four locations and have it start turning it all into this. Like, I think I got enough. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that with an open hand. Yeah, I got a full set in here. So this should start taking all of that sulfur and unifying it this way. And I'd rather just get it all unified over. So we'll give it some time and let it do that. But in the meantime, let's go down here. Come over to the auto crafting again. And it works. Let's get in the type of sulfur it wants. And it just made one for me. All right. So that crisis averted. I guess it wasn't really a crisis. On to phase 2. I'm going to be going to some other dimensions. The Aether. I should have done that long ago, but I'll finally get around to going to the Aether. And even other planets and things. And I see a lot of other people, they get full in their inventory and they have to keep throwing things out that might be useful in deciding what they're going to keep and what they're not going to keep. So I just want a bunch of big storage. And I'd rather not put it in bags because that creates more lag when I'm moving around with lots of bags. So up until now I've been using the Ender storage, and I like that system. But it's not as big as I want, and I don't want to have to carry around a whole bunch of bags all linked to different Ender drawers. I could put one that just automatically feeds back into the AA system, but I'd rather go to a planet or the Aether or whatever and see all the stuff I collected and then decide what's going in the AA system, what's being trashed, whatever. But I just want to be able to dump it when I'm moving fast through the episode. So we'll make the remote storage from RFtools. Okay, so the first thing we're going to make is the remote storage itself. Think of this like a drive bay. And we're going to need to make a machine frame. Oh, we don't have the rock wool. Let's make some rock wool. Oh yeah, this thing always comes up on the wrong side. Okay, I don't have a lot of the regular slag. Whoops, I don't want it all. Let's just grab... Yeah, 24 sounds good. We'll save 24 for later. We'll come over here. This is where my redstone furnace is. It's being used by this thing right now. And that will make rock wool. I'm going to... after this episode, I'm going to pull this whole thing out. There is no reason for me to have a sieving operation anymore. It's much easier to just do it in the condenser for everything that I need that way. They all have... Everything coming out of here has EMC. There's my rock wool. I'm going to be tearing out a lot of things, actually. So we got a machine frame. Put that in there. And which was it? Remote storage. That's what we want. That down. Next up, we're going to want... Oh, why are you showing like that? There we go. We're going to need 4 of these. Well, actually, we want 4 of those, but we got to make these first to get there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 2s. And the 3s. What are the 3s missing? Quartz blocks. I should put quartz in a compacting drawer, I guess. Okay, and where was our remote store? There it is. These. Okay, and we're going to need one of these remote storage modules. Is that everything? Oh no, we're going to want a tablet, something to carry around with us to access all of this. And we're going to need a pillar. What? No, I want a pillar, not that. Quit giving me a hard time. Okay, 3s. Oh no, we've got the 3s. What do we want? Oh no, we wanted the remote storage module. Tablet, that was it. That's what we needed. Didn't need pillars, it could use blocks of quartz. Oh well. Anyways, I need power from somewhere. Where has power? There's power right here. This'll do. Okay, and we put 1 in each of these. Interdimensional access, so cross-dimensional access. Yeah, I want to be able to access it in all dimensions. Okay. So enable those. And actually, those don't go there. They go here. Right, like that. Then that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. We add that in there. Oh, it needs power. Okay. Now, notice this thing's nearly out of power right now. You know, we'll get enough power for this. That doesn't take very much. What's doing it is I change this around, and this thing's going non-stop making biofuel. Before I had just barely enough pumpkins to handle it, and it wasn't on very often. Now it's filling up with it. I ripped out this farm completely. It was doing diamonds, redstone, and lapis. I really didn't need the lapis anymore, and I don't need the diamonds and the redstone anymore either. Again, it's all easier through the energy condenser. But because this thing's running full tilt, it's drawing a huge amount of power and sucking this thing dry. Eventually, this is going to get full, and then it's going to stop, and it'll go back to normal. But for right now, it's pretty bad. Oh, while I'm over here, well, let's finish this off first. Okay, so in here, let's say we threw a sulfur dust in this one, change to the next one, we throw a item conduit in there, we move on to the next one, we'll throw these gas storage modules in there, and we've got a fourth one, and that comes back around. So there are 4, we can access all 4 of them just by hitting the C down here. And we can do that in any dimension. Okay, so this is the chest that used to be up there, it was filling up with stuff, and I'd eventually come over and deal with it. I needed more than the 5 sides I had access to. But I decided I'm going to shut the laser drill off. And just before I did, I put a brand new drawer in there. I'm not processing. All these connections are turned off right now. And so I wanted all the raw ores. So if later on I decide I want to make an aluminum ore plant or something, or a tin ore plant, I have the raw ore to do it. So I'll just let this fill up once, and then I'm going to rip out the laser drill. I was planning on moving it up to, I forget what the figure is, 128 or 132 or something. If you put it up that high, you get more efficiency out of it. And then do the processing a different way, where it actually would have processed all this stuff and not had some left over. But there's no use doing it. Everything that comes out of that has an EMC, and so it's much easier to do with the processor over there. So I ripped out the pumpkins. How am I getting my pumpkins? Well, we've got one lonely little pumpkin plant over here. Just this guy here, that's it. That's the only one. And it is feeding the pumpkins up in there because it's got a filter showing this. The rest of the stuff goes into the AE system. Oh, for gold. Let's go over that. Remember, this thing was starting to not be full anymore. And down below here, this thing isn't quite full yet, but it's gaining. So I had put in a few more gold plants. Originally I had 9. I put in 12 and it still wasn't filling up. So I put in 15. Now I have too much. So I'm going to take one out and see how it fares. And because I don't want too much, I don't want too little, I want it to be at least close. Another thing I did over here, Bobbin was the one that suggested I use the photogenic insulator to make the nether stars. The rest of the system might be a little different than what he had suggested, but I'm using rich slag, he wasn't, for instance. But on the seeds, I had put a void on this because it was creating way too many seeds. He suggested that no, instead, feed the seeds over here, and 9 seeds make another star essence, and then use that essence to make more nether stars. So, a little better efficiency. Now, what are we doing over here? Did I just like funky rug down or something? No, these are all neutron collectors. They're a fairly expensive unit. Let's take a look at a neutron collector. Dire crafting, And we're talking stacks of iron, stacks of quartz. These take 2 nether stars each. So they're not cheap, but easy for me to make when I'm generating billions of EMC right now. So there are 5 stacks of these things. So that means I had to go to a crafting table 5 times, putting stacks of all of these things in there. Then to top it all off, I had to come down here and put conduits of some sort to all of these, feeding into here. And what this thing does is each of these creates a pile every so many minutes, 6 minutes or something. And so I take the piles, I turn them into nuggets, and the nuggets get turned into ingots. And so having 5 stacks of them means that I'm not going to have to wait nearly as long as if I only had a few of them. And I will need quite a few of these later on. And notice they... whoops. Come back here. No EMC. So you got to wait for them to do their thing. And 5 stacks isn't too bad. I'll wait. Now, one thing I did to make this all a little easier to set up is I used a conduit probe. So you set one conduit up the way you want. Then you shift right click and see how it says copy conduit settings down in the left hand corner there, left hand bottom, and then you just right click each of these things and it sets it for you. So it's a little quicker that way. The other time I used the conduit probe, and I forgot to mention it in the video, was when I was down at Bedrock with a harvester for those capacitor seeds, and I couldn't reach under the harvester to set the do the settings on the conduit. So I put down a piece of conduit, set the settings the way I wanted it, right-clicked it with the probe, and then I could reach under and hit the conduit with the probe, because I could do it like there. I didn't have to actually touch the top of it or whatever. And it adjusted it for me. All right. Yeah, I am... What are you doing down there? I wouldn't care about him, except he's going to pick things up. And if I wouldn't want him to pick up something worthwhile. That would be nasty. Okay. Must be raining outside. That's the only way they get in here. Yeah, I'm going to be ripping out a bunch of stuff because they kind of, when you've got too much stuff, it's sort of like FPS death by 1,000 cuts. Every little bit costs more FPS lag and more FPS lag, and eventually you go way down. So this thing's creating a fair bit of FPS lag, and there's a few other things that are. So I'm going to get rid of some of the things that are unnecessary, like this and the laser drill. I might actually get rid of the tree farm over here because it's causing some FPS lag, and it would be easier to make the charcoal with a condenser. And I think that would be a worthy investment of a condenser. I can't get rid of a lot of this other stuff here. I could do the niter that way, but I'm not doing much causing much lag with the niter. But the rich slag I have to keep anyways, because you can't make rich slag with EMC. Okay, one other thing I wanted to just get done so that later on when I do the Aether, I can do it very quickly. Let's get some glowstone. Now, I'd set this up deliberately for this back in like episode 5 or something like that. I had planned originally on going to the Aether to get the peridot to make the lasers for the table, and decided it would be better to create a laser drill and went that route instead. But I am going to have to go to the Aether to finish off a quest, and some of the stuff involved with getting the Infinity Catalyst is from the Aether. So, what did I come out here for? I know. I came out here to get a bucket of water. So yeah, I basically set up a portal just like you would for the end, and then we use a bucket of water and to start it up. Now I'll show you, if you haven't been to the Aether yet, or you don't have, let's rephrase it, even if you've been to the Aether and you don't have flight yet, because I'd set this all up very early on. Notice I put a pool of water over top of where the portal was going to go. I put the glass in there so you can see that that's where the portal is. And the reason for that is if you fall off the Aether anywhere close to the portal, you will land right on top of the portal. Now if you go a fair distance away from the portal, you will land somewhere else, like out there or something like that. But this could save your life if you fall off close to the close to your portal. But that covers off everything I was going to show you. Let's get on to my questions. One is, do any of you have much experience with the agricraft farming station? Now I can play around with it and figure it out on my own, but if anybody either knows where you can find good information on it or has done it themselves before for mutations. I used it to get my plants up to 10-10-10, but I didn't bother using it for mutations. Well, one of the things I'm going to have to do for the infinity catalyst, like to make these infinity ingots here, you need infinity catalysts. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it. But one of the things you're going to need to make is the ultimate stew. Now that means you're going to need all the Pam's Harvestcraft and Natura stuff to fill up this page. Now, is it as simple as I put in a few of the basic ones like the wheat seeds, carrot seeds, potato seeds, and then it just mutates all the other things that I need? Or do I have to plant them all individually where I want the mutations, and then it'll wait till it gets a mutation and then pull that up and get rid of anything that isn't a mutation? Like, how does this thing work? Now, I can play with it and try it out on my own, but I'd really like some solid information if anybody has it, so I have a starting point. But don't worry, if you don't know it, I will figure it out. The other thing I wanted to ask about, another thing you need to get to infinity ingots is you need blue gems, and they come from Neptune blue gem ore. Now, we already have all the metals you need to make the different rockets. The things that we're going to be missing if we wanted to jump straight to Neptune would be the schematic for the rocket that gets you there. Oh, what tier is the rocket for Neptune, by the way? My real question is, do I have to go to each of the planets in order to find the next schematic for the next planet? Or is there some sort of shortcut to get the schematics? Is there some other alternate way other than finding them in chests on the planet before it? Please let me know in the comments. Okay, and I've got some of the smartest people in Minecraft watching my series, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if people come up with some good answers for me. So, I hope you found something useful in this. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you next time. Go out there and have some fun. Oh, one other thing. Just so you don't go, where did you get it? My Neutronium compressor. I thought I'd show you that on screen. Pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. And I'll have stuff that came out of the Neutronium compressor and you go, well, where did it come from? This was it. That's it. Honest. It's over. Talk to you later. Thanks.